edition. Live, local, late-breaking. This is KOLD News 13, live.
We are less than 30 minutes away from the launch of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, and you are taking a live look from Florida. Coming up in just a few minutes, live at the Pima Air and Space Museum back here. That's happening this morning. Lots of things going on this morning, Aaron.
Yes, a live look outside right now here in southern Arizona, but as we switch over to our weather computer at the moment, we are looking at Florida. Now, off the coast of Florida, we are seeing a line of showers, but these showers moving out, and right now this morning, lots of sunshine in Cape Canaveral all the way across central Florida there. It's looking like a pretty good morning. Now, as far as temperatures for launch, around 72 degrees, relatively light winds. We're not going to see big gusty winds, but by this afternoon, the sun's energy will pop up a few showers in the Florida skies, but this morning, looking good for launch time here as it approaches in less than a half hour.
We'll take a look at this picture just tweeted by Gabrielle Gifford's staff this morning. The 6-man crew of the Space Shuttle Endeavour was in that Astrovan being transported to the Space Shuttle around 3 a.m. Tucson time. Gifford's staff also tweeted this: Endeavour Commander Mark Kelly is strapped into a seat and the rest of his crew will follow. Also, just minutes ago, Congresswoman Gifford's Chief of Staff, Pia Carasone, who was in Florida for the launch, spoke with the CBS Early Show. Let's take a look.
I understand you have a pretty precious piece of metal with you that Commander Kelly gave to you to give to Congresswoman Giffords. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Oh, well, usually he takes her wedding ring to space, so he took it from her a couple days ago, but she wanted his. So yesterday when we were at the beach house, he gave her his ring, but his hands are a bit bigger than hers, so it didn't fit on her finger. So anyway, so he gave it to me to find a chain to give to her. So I did last night. It's in my pocket, and it'll be around her neck as soon as I see her here in a couple minutes.
One can sort of imagine her sitting there fingering it as she watches this launch happen. Who else will be there with her on hand as she watches this?
So she'll be watching with the other spouses, and with her will be her mom and a nurse, which is just with her in case something happens. We don't expect anything would, but and that's it. Very small group.
What about Scott Kelly?
I'm sorry, you're right. Scott will be there, and Mark's children will be up there for a few minutes during launch as well. Yep.
Give us an idea. So many people focused on this for a number of reasons, but there's such interest, of course, in the Congresswoman and her progress. This sounds like it would be a fairly daunting trip. She's now made it 2 times to go from Houston to Florida. How much medical staff does this trip require for her?
You know, very little. We traveled with 2 nurses, but only because one needs to sleep while the other's working. You know, she's very stable medically, so the trip is not challenging for her in that regard. And in fact, it's challenging from a rehab perspective. I mean, there's new terrain to move around on, new people to meet, new environments, and those are all things that the folks at Tier Memorial Hermann in Houston have told us is helpful for someone in her position. So while it's a break from the hospital and the routine that she normally undergoes, it's still rehab nonetheless.
So Mark Kelly took his wife's ring. He's going to be taking it up to space with him. And of course, she said, well, if you're going to have my ring, give me yours too. So they exchanged rings again. We'll be showing more of this interview coming up in just a few minutes, so stick around.
All right, thank you, Mindy. Now, the launch of the Space Shuttle Endeavour will have a ripple effect across the nation that can be felt right here in Tucson.
Yeah, of course. So with its own space gallery here, the Pima Air and Space Museum has added interest now in today's historic events.
Joining us this morning is Scott Marchand of the Pima Air and Space Museum to tell us more. Now, Scott, you have quite a bit of history out there at the museum. Did the museum ever make an effort itself to try to get that space shuttle to retire there?
Oh, hi. Yeah, morning. Thanks for having us on this morning. You know, we gave some thought to trying to acquire a space shuttle, but, unfortunately, the cost to acquire one was really astronomical, about $48 million. And there's a lot of competition in larger markets. And I think, you know, the decisions that were made about the space shuttle placement a few weeks ago really reflect that, even in our best hopes, we would have been a very long shot.
$48 million, yeah, that's a pretty penny there, Scott. So here's a question, though. You know, a lot of people, I think that because of the surrounding events with this shuttle launch, people who maybe weren't interested in it before certainly are now. So are people expected to kind of come your way now and they want to learn a little bit more about NASA?
Well, I hope they certainly would. I mean, we've got a great gallery here and a strong education program with a strong emphasis on space travel, and certainly with the Tucson connection with Representative Giffords and her husband Mark Kelly, who has been out here on a number of occasions to speak about his experiences with the space shuttle program. Yeah, we're definitely seeing a little bit of an uptick in interest in what's happening out here.
And just looking at what's surrounding you out there, you have quite the gallery in NASA and as well. What do you have out there that you can share with folks when they come out there?
Well, we have a dedicated space gallery that gives you a good overview of principally the American space history program, but we also touch on the international programs, with Russian, Chinese, and other countries' programs. But we have a lot of Gemini and Apollo material. Behind me here to my left, you'll see an Apollo spacesuit. These were developed for the man-moon missions in the 60s, and one was Buzz Armstrong's backup suit for the Apollo 11 mission, and was later refitted for Dean and Alan Pogue. It never actually went into space, but it was fitted as a backup. And we're lucky here because we're one of the only places outside of the Smithsonian collection to have our own spacesuit of this nature on display.
Wow.
Oh, that is very neat. So again, a backup there to Buzz Lightyear, astronaut that a lot of people are very familiar with.
Buzz Lightyear, yeah.
To infinity and beyond. Thank you very much. So Scott Marchand from Pima Air and Space Museum. We're so glad you could join us this morning. A lot of insight into how this is affecting us all here in Tucson.
Yeah, check back in with you.
Look forward to talking again.
Right. Meanwhile, our team coverage continued, this time with Joan Lee at the traffic desk. She actually has a look at what it will take for astronauts to dock with the space station. What can you tell us, Joan?
Well, Scott, earlier this morning, and for Endeavour's launch. Once they're in orbit, then the real tricky maneuvering happens. We're going to take a look now at how the shuttle will with the space station. International Space Station is about 220 miles above the Earth. Commander Kelly and his crew will manually fly the shuttle for the remainder of the approach and for the docking. Now, speaking of docking, coming together, we have an interchange of our own very close to home, and I thought we'd take a live look to I-10 and I-19, where we find no problem at all. Kana?
Joan, thank you so much. Next here. Restaurants are, well, right now, they're getting into the space spirit, I think, this morning a little bit.
That's right. You can't help it. Many folks watching Endeavour blast off for the last time from Trident Grill in Midtown.
Yeah, so this is a really interesting story. A lot surrounding this morning. So let's check in with Courtney Carlmark, because they're live. Oh, there's a lot of people there with you now.
Oh, there are tons of people here, you guys, and you were just talking about the space spirit. Well, I have someone who is so adorable here today that I have to show you. This is Quinn. Look at his space outfit this morning. Doesn't he look absolutely adorable? He's a big fan of space, big fan of astronauts and Gabby Giffords, and he's here to show his support today, looking very cute. But check out all the folks that are here. There's a line out the door. There's just a ton of people showing up. They're having breakfast. They're talking. They're excited. They're ready for this launch. Everyone that I've talked to say that they're big supporters of Gabrielle Giffords. And speaking of big supporters, we have 3 fans here this morning joining us. Faith, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to wake up early and come down here this morning.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Awesome.
All of Tucson is here.
Yeah, it just shows the support and the tight-knit community of Tucson. Erica, you were here for the launch party that got scrubbed. You're here again. What does this mean to you?
Well, for one thing, I'm really saddened that we're going to miss the space program, but I'm really excited for every launch, and I'm really excited for Gabby and for Mark, and I'm pleased to be here.
Great. Well, we're awesome that you guys are here, and Jim, you're a big supporter of Gabby as well?
Yes, we've supported Gabby several times, her Congress on Your Corner, and we're big fans of the space program, and looking forward to where it's going to go from here. The shuttle's going to go away, and we're anxious to see where it's going to go from here.
Exactly. Everyone, of course, anxious to see the launch that's happening, and just a few minutes now, we're going to be here bringing you all the live coverage and bringing you feedback from all these folks here this morning. Reporting live from Midtown, Courtney Carlmark, KOLD News 13, live local, late breaking.
All right, Courtney, some exciting fans out there, and get your spacesuits. We'll be checking back in with you.
Isn't that cute?
Adorable.
Courtney, thank you very much. So, wow, that's really neat to see that crowd growing there this morning. We have been following, by the way, the Congresswoman's trip from Houston since she left yesterday. We've been following on all the social media sites out So with more now on what's making some buzz online, let's go ahead and check in with KOLD.com producer Brian White. Brian.
Yeah, Kana, very exciting, isn't it? I just found a cool picture posted on the page. Look at this. It shows Congresswoman's view from the airplane at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Along with the picture, it says, Gabrielle landed safely in Florida. Smooth flight, thanks to NASA for the of the launch pad. Now, on her Twitter account, this picture shows where the Congresswoman and her husband met up before he had to leave and prepare for the launch. It reads, Gabrielle and Mark said goodbye during visit before launch. Beach house made for picturesque setting. I'll be back with more online for the updates on KOLD.com. I'm Brian White.
Good stuff. Thank you, Brian. KOLD News 13 time now is 5:40. We're going to take a live look for you from Cape Canaveral, Florida this morning. You see it right there. That's on the launch pad, and the countdown is on. We are just minutes away. Stay tuned. We will continue our full coverage of the Space Shuttle Endeavour launch.